Welcome to Five Dive. Today we have Michael Azzopardi. He is the co-founder of Azzo. It is a software development company that also specializes in e-learning. He's also the co-founder of Heyday, a community outreach event here in Malta. Michael, how about you take the floor?
Thanks for the invitation, Elias. So I run a company called Azzo, which is a software company, a London-based software company. And for the past 5 or so years, we've been focusing a lot on e-learning and building learning experiences for mainly the hospitality in this industry, but also other industries as well. And kind of we've amassed a lot of experience around building really kind of experience-led, engaging e-learning tools, trying to kind of push away from the kind of old school LMS products out there. I also run Heyday, as you said, which is a community, kind of creative community organization. We run meetups every month. And I'm also launching a new product as we speak called Inform. You can see more at inform.io, which is our first SaaS tool, and it's a hospitality e-learning product.
Awesome. So you have quite the experience in e-learning. I'd love to learn more about it. Let's start off from the corporate perspective. I mean, what are corporations doing right, and what are they doing wrong in terms of e-learning for their staff?
So one thing to keep in mind is that staff join the company for learning. So learning has to be the priority of the company. I think companies know that. I think the number one mistake that's being done out there is integrating e-learning and integrating a tool without looking into ways of combining it with real engaging and kind of real engaging and mentorships and ways that learning has always worked before. So learning works best when there's trust, when there's connection, when there's communication with an organization. So simply adopting a digital solution and automating the entire learning agenda of the company isn't enough. So you have to look into blended learning, into cohort and mentorship programs within the organization and combine them with a good tool to get the best results.
Okay. Traditionally, what's the size of the company you work with in terms of like number of staff that invests in these sort of tools?
Our biggest customer is a core group, so and they train 400,000 people. So that's a lot of people worldwide. So we built several tools for our core during the years, all of which target 400,000 people. And through that, obviously, you learn a lot about the system itself and how it should be, how it should function. I think the number one thing actually that comes to mind in terms of rolling out a big e-learning solution, especially if you have a very large organization, is to think about internal marketing, internal communication, because your three main goals when you're engaging in e-learning are adoption, engagement, and progress. Right? You need your customers to adopt the tool, and then when they do adopt it, you need them to be engaged in the tool by building really good courses and really good content. And then obviously you want them to progress, to develop and learn, and genuinely find an interesting angle in that tool.
Now, for e-learning, I mean, is this like all from the very bottom to the very top, like from rank and file employees to maybe even C-suite?
Absolutely. E-learning always comes from a need. So it always comes from a need of pushing some form of internal process or values. And these processes and values are generally applicable to all the levels of the organization.
Awesome. One more question now. A lot of, majority of our audience comes, from a very startup and entrepreneurial perspective. And I think it's, this is actually something that's really lost on startups in terms of self-education, self-development, and prioritizing education for co-founders and staff. What should startup entrepreneurs do, that don't have these massive teams? They may be, as small as 10 and even way less. What should they do to prioritize e-learning in their own development?
I think when it comes to startups, I think things are changing, and we start to see a lot of leaders and entrepreneurs looking out and looking at things like Udemy and all these things that are being automated within the corporation. I think they're fantastic tools because they give your team a great opportunity to not only learn, but also to share stuff within the company and try to kind of be the cutting edge and push themselves. In terms of the leadership, there's plenty of things to look into as well in terms of e-learning, and I think leading by example is really the way to go with e-learning, because people they need to gravitate towards something, and if they see the leadership obtaining that knowledge from e-learning, they will definitely be the ones to put their first foot forward.
Awesome. Never stop learning, for sure. Do you have anything, any last points you want to add to this?
No, I would say that when going for an e-learning product, make sure that you look into something which is easy to implement, easy to transition into, because that's one of the main weaknesses of e-learning products. Look for something which offers courses from the get-go, something that some foundation courses that don't need you to kind of like spend ages building courses, something you can start with. And finally, something you can automate with, something that you can automate the boring HR stuff so that you can focus on really building the connection with your team.
Awesome. Michael, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate having you.
Not a problem. My pleasure. Thank you very much.